The European Commission has adopted a set of recommendations in order to make the EU's climate, energy, transport, and taxation policies compatible with a reduction in net greenhouse gas emissions of at least 55% by 2030, relative to levels in 1990. More data on putting the European Green Deal into practice will be available. Climate change and environmental degradation present an existential threat to both Europe and the rest of the world. The European Green Deal will transform the EU into a modern, resource-efficient, and competitive economy to address these problems, guaranteeing by 2050, resource use will be uncoupled from economic growth, there will be no net emissions of greenhouse gases, and nobody or anywhere will be left behind. The European Green Deal makes the assumption that it will also shield Europe from the COVID-19 pandemic. A third of the €1.8 trillion investments from the EU 7-year budget and the Next Generation EU Recovery Plan will go toward funding the European Green Deal. Europe needs energy that is reasonably priced, secure, and sustainable. In response to the hardships and disruption of the global energy market brought on by the Russia-Ukraine war, the European Commission is implementing its REPowerEU plan. REPowerEU, which was unveiled in May 2022, supports the EU energy efficiency, clean energy production, and supply diversification. The EU has reduced its military spending on Russia, safeguarded its citizens and businesses from energy shortages, and accelerated the transition to sustainable energy by implementing REPowerEU. Compared to before, Europe's preparedness and unity have been strengthened by ongoing EU cooperation. Reduce energy consumption by 20% and switch over to new gas in less than 8 months. The most economical, safest, and environmentally friendly way to reduce reliance on Russian imports of fossil fuels is to conserve energy. The efforts of businesses, industry, and European citizens have made this possible. In less than 8 months, 80% of the gas in the Russian pipeline has been replenished, and energy consumption has decreased by 20%. Energy conservation is the most economical, risk-free, and environmentally friendly way to reduce Russia's reliance on fossil fuel imports. This is the result of the labor of Europeans, businesses, and industry. The Commission's recommendations were accepted by member states at the EU level during the previous winter in order to voluntarily cut fuel use by 15% across the EU. All of the member states were impacted by any disruptions, despite the fact that some member states are more directly exposed to Russian gas than others. As a result, all member states cooperated and were ready to share fuel, if necessary, with their neighbors. Each EU nation committed to a minimum 15% reduction in gas consumption. Gas demand decreased by 18% between August 2022 and March 2023, exceeding the goal. In March 2023, member states agreed to extend the Commission's voluntary gas demand reduction target by 1 more year. Factors affecting gas prices. Fuel costs are now lower in Europe than they were prior to the Russia-Ukraine conflict, in part because of the coordinated European response led by REPowerEU. At this time, Europe is spending more money than ever before on secure and sustainable energy sources. However, EU countries opted to impose a limit on fuel price increases in order to help protect citizens and the economy. To help safeguard citizens and the economy, the EU countries chose to impose a cap on fuel price increases. Fuel purchases will be subject to a price ceiling when and if prices rise to unusually high levels. This market correction method will be in use until February 2024. The EU forecasted that they would be able to replace an additional 12 BCM of gas with renewable energy in 2023 as a result of their ongoing rollout of renewable energy and increased capacity. In order to increase its capacity for renewable energy, the EU decided on stricter laws in March 2023. The mandatory target for 2030 was increased to 42.5% with the goal of achieving 45%, which would almost double the current percentage of renewable energy in the EU. According to the EU, they needed to do a better job of supporting their own businesses, from nanotechnology to chemicals, from hydrogen to biotechnology, in order to make this clean transformation feasible. The Green Deal Industrial Plan for Europe was unveiled in February 2023 to carry out this strategy. The Green Deal Industrial Plan is increasing the competitiveness of the net zero industry in Europe and accelerating the transition to climate neutrality. Net zero technology and products must be produced on a larger scale within the EU in order for Europe to meet its ambitious climate goals. This is accomplished by creating an atmosphere that is more conducive to this happening. The EU has a once-in-a-generation chance to show the way in the quickly growing net zero technology sector with dynamism, ambition, and a sense of purpose. European leadership in the clean technology revolution is a priority. According to EU businesses and people, it entails transforming talents into high-quality jobs and innovation into mass production by using a simpler and quicker framework. With easier access to financing, their main clean technology sectors can grow faster. In conclusion, Consumer Trading Organization Limited will host more concepts in the future.